Hi everyone, my name's Jordan and welcome back to my channel. Preface really quick, my dog's playing with a loud toy. I'm gonna film anyway, so I'm sorry if you can hear him. He always chooses while I'm filming to play with the loudest of toys, so here we are. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about some of the underrated books on my list of books I've read. I went on Goodreads and I looked at some of the lowest rated books and picked out some that I really don't think deserve to be down there. So let's get into it. I've got 10 on this list, kind of a mix of genres and stuff. First up, with 3.68 stars, I have A Spindle Splintered by Alex E. Harrow. This is a Sleeping Beauty retelling that's kind of like a portal fantasy that starts out in modern day times, and it is a really sad story. It's short, I think it's a novella, and it was really good. I liked it a whole lot, and I don't know why it's like one of the lowest rated books I've ever read, because I thought it was really good. It's about this woman with a chronic illness, and she just turned 18, I think, or 21 or something, and she's slated to like die soon. Like, she only has a couple years left to live, and she's always loved Sleeping Beauty, and she ends up like being portaled to what would be like real Sleeping Beauty. Like, she goes back to like a medieval castle. It's just like a really interesting take on Sleeping Beauty, and I really enjoyed it. I don't know why it's rated so low, because I thought it was really well done. Next up, with 3.68 stars, I have The City of Dusk by Tara Sim. This is a debut book, and I can see why some people would rate it low, because the writing's not the best, but I really, really liked the plot. And for a debut book, I thought that the characters were really well written, and I thought the plot was really interesting, so I could kind of look past some of the lesser writing, like the prose wasn't as good, but I really enjoyed it. It follows these 4 siblings that are living in this realm that the gods have cut off, and so their world is dying, and they must kind of, they're not siblings, they're heirs. They're all heirs to different parts of this realm, and they must band together to kind of like bring the gods back. I think it's a really good book. I'm excited for the second one. I think that the quality of this paperback by Orbit is less than spectacular. It's like not cut well. The cover is like this weird matte finish where I feel like it should be different. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like some of their like woven paper covers are better. Like, I don't know. Anyway, but the book itself, I really liked. So I don't think it deserves to be this low on the list, because I think it's a really fun book. It is adult fantasy, but it does read a little younger. Like, it's got some YA tropes, but it deals with a lot of darker themes. I really liked it, so I don't think it deserves to be on this list. Next up, I have Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Silvia Moreno Garcia is one of my most respected authors because she writes so many different genres. This is a horror, but she also has written like some noir fantasy. She always has like very Mexican influences because she's Mexican, and I've read some really great books from her. I've also read some that I didn't like as much, but for the most part I've loved her books. I've also read, one of the ones I loved was Certain Dark Things. I also loved The Beautiful Ones. So her books are very good. And this one is a horror about a girl who goes and lives with some extended family, but this house is like got this mushroom infestation, and there's like this dark energy. It's very, very scary. There's like a romance in it. It's really good, and I highly recommend it. I don't know why it's rated poorly. It's a short read too, and it's unlike anything I've read before. I'm not a big horror reader so much. I want to get more into it. I've read a lot of Stephen King, but otherwise I haven't read a whole lot of horror. I'm hoping to maybe do like a horror vlog in October. We'll see. But this book is phenomenal. A great October read, I will say. It is a good Halloween read. It's a haunted house basically. So I don't get why this book is rated so low, because I think it's phenomenal. Next up, with 3.69 stars, is The Keeper of Night by Kylie Lee Baker. This is an ARC I got from a Goodreads giveaway. This is a very dark fantasy book about, that's based on like Japanese folklore, and I really liked it. It's about a biracial woman who is part British, part Japanese, and in the UK they have reapers, and in Japan they have the Shinigami. And she lives in the UK and is not really accepted because she's part Japanese, so she flees to Japan. And her brother goes with her, and she learns there that she's also not super accepted. And it is this very, very dark story that has a lot of really tough themes, but is so beautiful, and I do not understand why it's rated so low. The second book comes out, I think this year, or maybe early next year, and I'm so excited for it. I think that this is a really fun book. I don't know if this is it's young adult, okay. So it's YA fantasy, but it is really dark. I think it's YA just because the characters are young, but it deals with some really tough themes. I think it's a really good book. I love the like different influences, like you get that UK British side of it, and then you go to the Japanese side of it, and it's like a completely different tone, a completely different setting, obviously, and it's just so good. I love it. It explores some great themes, so I say read it anyway, even though it's rated poorly, because I think it's really good. Next up is one that like really shocked me because I've only heard great things about it from booktubers, and that is The Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu. I don't know why this is on this list because I've only heard great things. This book is about Mozart and his sister, who are both musical prodigies, but his sister is held back because she's a girl. And this made-up world that they make up together called The Kingdom of Back, which in real history they actually did have this. They had their like made-up world they would play in, but this book takes it and makes it real. So they go to this Kingdom of Back, and it is a beautifully told story that deals with like gender roles and history and music and fantasy, and it's so well written. It's got flowery, beautiful writing. It is so good, and I do not understand why it's on this list because I've never seen anyone talking bad about it. I know like Elliot Brooks really loves it, so like I really don't get why this book is on this list. It is so good. Next up is one of my favorite books I've ever read, so that makes me a little upset, and that is The Loneliest Girl in the Universe by Lauren James. I never see anyone talking about this book, and maybe it's because everyone hates it. I don't know. I loved it. It is a book about a girl who is on this multi-year journey in a spaceship to go find a new place for humans to live. And I think that's what the journey was. I don't remember what the goal was. But everyone on the ship dies, and she is now the captain, and she's like 13 or something. Or maybe she's like 17. And so she's like got a therapist back on Earth that she can communicate with, but communications take a little while to get there because she's very far. And so she gets told that there's another ship that is coming out to meet her. She's told that there's like this war going on Earth and all this stuff. And so she starts communicating with the captain of this other ship, and they kind of develop a relationship because they're both alone. And it is a beautiful, beautiful book about like grief. You really get to see like how naive she is in human relationships because she's been alone for so long, and it is just such a good book. And like it's kind of slow, but then when you get towards the end, the speed like picks up, and the end is wild. It is so bizarre how it ends. Like I did not see it coming at all. I highly recommend this book. I'm so sad it's on this list because it is such a good book. It's YA. Obviously, it's like she's like 17, I think, and she's really naive. But like that is kind of the beauty of the book. It's short. I listened to the audiobook, and the audiobook was really good. The cover is stunning. My sister-in-law got me this for Christmas because I didn't own it, and I said it was one of my favorites. So I love her for that. But yeah, I really recommend this book, even if you don't read YA, because like the psychological exploration you get is beautiful. I'm gonna reread this book soon because I love it. Next up is a book that I had on my favorite sci-fi books so far, which I think Loneliest Girl in the Universe should have been on it. I honestly just forgot to mention it. But this was the first one on my list because it's one of the first big sci-fi books I read, and that is To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini, and it has 3.77 stars. This is a epic sci-fi story. It's a standalone, and I really liked it. It was like the first big sci-fi book I read, and it's what really got me interested in astrophysics and astronomy and cosmology and all of that. So I think that I might have a little bit of a biased opinion on it, but I really loved this book. I thought it was, even though it was huge, I thought it was like, I could not put it down. I mean, I listened to the audiobook, but it was phenomenal, and it kind of has like Venom, like from Spider-Man, like it kind of has like that, and like she has this like microorganism that like creates a suit for her, so that's really cool. And there's like meeting an alien race who are adorable, and like the whole thing is just so good, and it makes me sad that it's on this list. I will say I'm very new to the sci-fi genre, so it could not be, maybe it's just not as good as some other sci-fi, but for somebody newer to the genre, I really liked this book a lot, so I wish it wasn't on this list. Next up, I have one that I don't see a lot of people talking about, and that is I Darken by Kirsten White with 3.83 stars. This is a gender-bent retelling of Vlad the Impaler, so you have a very morally gray character, and she is phenomenal. It's a YA series, and I think that it is just really different from a lot of YA, so I think that's why it's probably rated low. The main character is not very likable. She's mean, she's cruel. I mean, she's supposed to be like Vlad the Impaler, but you're still kind of rooting for her the whole time, so I loved this series, but I kind of see why people don't. Next up is a book that I have on my best of Stephen King, and I think I had it as like number 3. I'll link that video above, but that is Desperation. This has 3.84 stars. I loved Desperation. Granted, I read it in high school, but it is like about these I think it's a couple, and they're driving in the middle of nowhere, and they get pulled over by a cop and basically like abducted by this cop. And in typical Stephen King fashion, things get real weird. And it is very scary, very good. This one is paired with The Regulators. Like, it's one that has the beautiful covers, and when you hold them next to each other, they look phenomenal. But this book is so good. I really loved it, and I wish it wasn't on here. There were a lot of Stephen King books on my lowest rated books, which is funny because he does have some duds. But this one is not a dud. I loved this book, and I get that it's like one of the weirder ones, but I loved it. I don't know. I recommend it. Give it a shot. If you like Stephen King, give it a shot. I think it's a good book. Next up is one that feels a little bit like a slap in the face, and that is The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. I talk about this book a lot. It is a really, really, really hyped book. So I wonder if that's why it's low rated, because I feel like when there's a really hyped book and somebody goes into it and just thinks it's okay, they will rate it lower than if it's not overhyped. Like, if it's a just okay book, they might give it like 3 or 4 stars. But if it's super hyped and they go into it with high expectations, then sometimes they'll rate it lower. So I think that might be why, because I really liked this book. I can kind of see why some people won't. It has a very kind of like unexplained magic system, and you don't really fully know what's going on the whole time. It's really character focused, and I think it's incredible. I love this story. I think that they're all really morally gray. No one's actually really that likable. Like, they're all pretty annoying and bad. But I think that this like dark academia secret society thing is so fun, and the characters are all a blast. Like, you can't root for anyone. They all suck so much. So, and the twist at the end is wild, and I'm so excited for the Atlas Paradox, which comes out, I think, in September, maybe October. I'm excited. I don't think this should be on this list. I think it should be rated higher than it is. So, here we are. So that is some of my lowest rated books that I really enjoyed. I think these books are all worth a shot. If the brief synopsis I gave sounds enjoyable to you, give it a shot. You might like it. Everyone has some books that they like that a lot of people don't. So these are some of mine. Some of these hurt more than others. The Loneliest Girl in the Universe ripped my heart out a little bit. The Atlas 6, Mexican Gothic. Those are like some incredible books. I do not know why they're on this list, because they are chef's kiss. Anyway, Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know some of your favorite underrated books. If you go to Goodreads, you can like sort by average rating and then reverse the order, and go look and see if some of those are ones that you really, really liked that don't deserve the rating they have. I want to know. If you guys really like my content, please hit the notification bell to be notified every time I post new videos. Thank you guys for watching. As always, your support means the world to me, and until next time, thanks.